Guys, welcome. Week 2 of the Fantasy Hub coming
Week
at you. Me and my
two.
boy Mike. What's going on? Mike and
Hey,
Ruby.
hey, how's it going?
Good. It was
Good,
a
good.
very eventful week. A lot has happened. A lot of stories. We're gonna jump right into it. You want to talk about some of transactions that happened, Mike?
Yeah, you bet. I bet you guys didn't expect to see us back so quickly here. Firing off the second podcast already in week two. That's right. We're 2 for 2 for weeks. Pretty exciting. We're still waiting. I think rumor on the street before we get into transactions, if you don't mind. I believe rumor on the street is there's a competing podcast that's supposed to be circulating. Uh,
Yeah. I hear the talks, the bar talks. I hear the bar talks.
That's the only place that podcast is currently talking because so far I haven't seen any production or any videos or anything that's actually out there. So I don't know. It'd be kind of fun to see what else is out there, but I'm not gonna hold my breath because I'd probably die. So
All right. Well,
well, with that being said, we're gonna jump into transactions around the league. Um, so it's not just about yeah, there's been some big injuries that have happened in week one. The Tyreek Hill one is pretty rough. The Nick Foles one,
Hunter
um,
Henry.
Hunter Henry, that one just came out today. The AB drama is just ever flowing. The latest sleeper thing that hit 20 minutes before we pulled this up is he's supposed to play this week. Who knows? And if he plays, who knows if he's worth a damn. But yeah, the transactions we want to highlight though is the ones that have gone on in our league. So a couple of trades that have happened, and maybe a couple more before this week finalizes and goes up. But there's two ones. One's smaller, one's bigger. So let's just get the small one out of the way first. No one's gonna really care about this. That was a trade that went down between me and Vice today. Um, it's probably the easiest, most stress-free trade of my life. I submitted a trade request, no communication. 3 minutes later, so the trade had been approved in your league. It was done.
Wouldn't you like that? That would happen with all the trades he sent in. David would just have the best team of all time from
I
these
would
trades
send,
he sends out.
I would send a lot more trades if they always got accepted. I'll
Yeah.
tell you that. But I think the league's pretty savvy, and they're not just going to go ahead and do trades that don't benefit. Well, most people wouldn't do trades that don't benefit them. But yeah, Robbie Anderson for Will Fuller. That's similar type players on not similar type teams, but you know, Robbie's got probably the better, more guaranteed market share with slightly better injury concerns. Will Fuller has the better quarterback and the better offense. So who knows? I think that's pretty much a coin flip. That's probably why he accepted it. Do you have anything to say on that trade?
Not really. I
That's,
mean,
that's how most people feel
I
about
think
that trade.
it's pretty even. I mean, it doesn't really like make or break the league. You know what I mean? It doesn't like turn anybody's team upside down. I just want to say in trades, like people's probably spend a good amount of time looking at their teams and they know what they want. They have needs and wants, and a lot of people have their favorite players. And seasons are a lot more fun when you have your favorite player in the team, even if you start to lose. So,
Oh
um,
God.
a lot of a lot of teams made trades they think are just going to work out for them. We
That
saw.
leads us perfectly into the other trade that happened this week. And favorite players and good vibes for the season. Like trading Julio Jones and a bag of fucking animal crackers for Juju Smith-Schuster and Aaron Jones. I'm of course talking about the great trade heist that Krill pulled off earlier this week. It's probably more egregious than the one that was last week. Julio
Well, hold
Jones,
on a second
Emmanuel
before you
Sanders,
start ripping.
Jordan,
The
who?
trade, the
Jordan
trade that I did
Horton?
last week, trade that I did
What's
last
his
week,
name?
I actually lost because of it. If I didn't
That's
trade
that's
with
looking at a
Hoppy,
that's looking at a 1 week sample size.
I mean that's 10% of my games already this season that I've lost because of this trade that I gave. And McCaffrey's not going to put up 40 points each week, obviously.
Yeah, no,
Um,
there's no doubt. I mean, one thing is you never want to read too much into 1 week of the season. McCaffrey's a stud. There's no doubt about it. He's better than anyone Krill got. Um, but when you look at it, Krill essentially was able to trade McCaffrey to get Juju Smith-Schuster, Aaron Jones, and Todd Gurley. There's not a person out there that wouldn't do it. Now, Emmanuel Sanders he's had a good career. He's got Joe Flacco as his quarterback.
I mean, he had a good
And
game. He
his
had a lot
week
of
was
looks.
You've already traded him. You don't have to stand up for him anymore. His week was
Nah.
salvaged by the touchdown that he got at the end of the game in garbage time. So not that good. And then Jordan Howard is not a guy you ever want to start. Like his best weeks are going to be early on in the season. He had 60 yards rushing or whatever on like 8 carries. It's fine, but unless he gets in the end zone, he's like a worse Latavius Murray. You can start him, but honestly, there's wide receivers that are better starts than starting those guys. So, and then I don't understand who spends $30+ to draft Aaron Jones to give up on him after 1 week against the Chicago Bears defense on the road. Like, it's a good deal. And here's the thing is, he still has a tough matchup this week against Minnesota. So I get it.
Yeah,
Like
next
Pat,
3 tough weeks.
yeah, he does. And Pat has been like, if you look at the way Pat made trades last year, he did it on a week by week basis. So he always went for what he thought was best for that week, and that's totally fine. But what happens is your team talent, as you keep trading down talent for better matchups each week, keeps diminishing. So it's just tough to put yourself in a hole like that. But I mean,
I think
you made the take.
there has been less trades this year than last year. Last year I think was one of the craziest trade years that we've had, and obviously we're just going into week 2 and a lot can happen, especially when more injuries are going to start to occur. People aren't going to get impatient, but I think last year was crazy. I know, like even David made like 7 or 8 trades last year just himself, and he hasn't done anything yet this year. I think he's kind of sitting on his team because he started off pretty well.
Because he likes his team this year.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like we're spending a lot of time talking about trades.
Well, it's an interesting thing to talk about.
Trades are, I don't know. I'm very different when it comes to a lot of people to do trades. I try not to attach myself to a lot of people. Like I love Christian McCaffrey. He's one of my favorite players. But if there's an opportunity there to upgrade, or I think what's going to be best for my team, I'm going to do it, because I got to look through a fantasy perspective and not like, oh my God, I have my favorite player in the team. Me and him are going to hold hands and we're going to have fun and hope he scores 15 points.
If there's one person I think who needs to make a trade the most in our league, it's Donnelly. Like, he's so lopsided when it comes to his running backs versus wide receivers. He really needs to flip a wide receiver to get some running back talent.
Yeah, I mean, you can say
He's got Devontae Adams and Michael Thomas and Zach Ertz.
I mean, you can go over a lot of teams can make trades. I mean, yeah, Donnelly, Briggs needs to make a trade. I don't know what's going on with his running backs. He just has Lindsey and whatever's
Briggs
going
just has a bad team. That's different. He need to make a trade.
And he has assets. And then, I mean, Spitzer suffered some injuries. I mean, if you look at his starting team right now, they're not super great. I mean, Lamar Jackson's not going to be throwing 5 touchdowns a game.
Right this week.
Arizona's kind of ass.
Yeah.
I mean, Danny Amendola dropped like 100 yards on them, so.
I know. All right. Well, then let's jump off trades. The other thing to mention is week 1 of waiver wires went through, and the big theme outside of overpaying was speedy receivers. So, like, the noticeable pickups were $40 for John Ross. Yikes. He had a great week. He had a lot of targets. He had good snap percentage. He made the most of it. He could be really good. The concern with that guy is going to be AJ Green comes back. They already have Tyler Boyd. Is Andy Dalton going to throw for 400 yards each week? No. So he has a potentially diminished role. It's just, I mean, who knows? He had a great week 1. And I think it's more than just a lucky fluke play or two. But that's a lot of money. But,
he
if
did
there's ever a
in
time
Seattle.
to spend a lot to get a guy, it's early in the season, because then they could pay out through the rest of the year, which leads me to the number 2 guy, which is $30 for Terry McLaurin, who I think could be great over there in the Redskins. He could be their number 1. That's the difference. Like, I'd rather have Terry McLaurin than John Ross personally. But then the rest of the pickups that were over $20 is DJ Chark for $25. David bid $21 for Chris Conley. The next closest bid was nobody, because nobody else put a bid in. And then Pat picked up the Patriots defense for $20. So those were the big pickups.
It does surprise me, like the Chiefs defense, especially their secondary, they haven't been good in a while. I know they added like the Honey Badger and shit, but I mean, they just haven't been that great. And the Jags receivers going off. I mean, they lose their starting quarterback no matter what happens. They don't have that much trust in him because the Jags trade a 5th-round pick for Joshua Dobbs to the Steelers, right? Like a 5th-round pick for a quarterback that could potentially be a starter backup. So they're not even sure of their quarterback situation. And for their receivers who haven't really made a name for themselves outside of D.D. Westbrook to get picked up for a lot of money is pretty surprising. Like DJ, Chark. I mean, he's ultra talented, but he's still really, really young, and he only had like 4 catches. Right? This isn't like he's not like he saw some crazy volume. They want to be a running team. They build their offensive line to power run, not to go crazy with passing. None of these quarterbacks who are going to start are going to come in and just throw the ball. I mean, it's just it's week 1 and first waiver wire. People get excited. They want to be the first on that on that player. That's gonna spark and break out, and if that is what it is.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Last year, I think Justin got Philip Lindsay for like either $18 or $21 or something, and obviously that led him straight to the championship.
He did that his first championship too when he got Odell Beckham.
Yeah, but the Odell pickup was like halfway through the season, so. Because Odell missed like the first 6 games of the year.
Right, hurt. But he still, picked him up, and then Odell went nuts as a rookie, and Justin ended up winning. So,
yep, and he outbid me to get him. I remember all too well. We don't have to talk about that anymore. But.
I'm gonna jump into standings. So the highest scorer of the week was Jackie. She threw down 146 points, which is crazy. Then it was Hoppy with 141. Half of those were Christian McCaffrey. Then it was David with 132, Spitzer 128, Nick 113, and then everybody. Actually, Erica had 140. Wow.
Yeah, Erica.
Yeah, she lost by 1 point. Oh my God.
You didn't realize that?
I didn't realize that she was the second highest scoring team, or the third, I guess.
Third, yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. Okay.
And that was a hell of a matchup, too, with that Monday night game and the missed extra point and the back and forth and Hoppy being so confident and hashtag God's plan, and then he almost lost, but apparently it was God's plan. It was crazy. It was a fun game, fun fantasy matchup. Feel bad for Erica, but she'll bounce back. She'll be fine.
People still have $100. Hoppy, Briggs, Justin has $99. You have $100. I have $99. Andrew has $99, and Don is the only one with $105. He's being patient. Donnelly's being patient. He only scored 74 points, even though his opponent only scored 79. So they were literally not only were they the 2 lowest scores, but he had 74. I don't know what he needs to do. He's got good receivers, but I'd definitely move a receiver for a good receiver and a running back. I'd start moving some pieces around, but maybe he's being patient or waiting for something.
Maybe he's too busy with work. Who knows?
Donnelly's a busy guy, man. Kids, work. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. All right. So before we get into this week's matchups and predictions, I just want to go and recap where we're at right now for predictions. So last week there were 7 games, just like there were every week. Kirill, how many of those games do you think you predicted correctly?
5.
That is exactly correct. You got 5 games correct. You know how many games I got correct?
6.
7.
Oh,
that means I got
really
0
nice.
in case you're wondering. So.
Nope, I wasn't thinking of that.
Had a perfect week, except my team didn't win, but I didn't predict me to win. So, go with the bad. Let's jump into this week's matchups and talk about who we think will get the W. Let's go ahead and let's start it off with your matchup versus Vice.
Okay. I'm going to win. Now on to Pat and Andrew.
No thoughts? You're a 10-point dog when it comes to projections.
Yeah, fuck projections. I'm going to win. Vice, I know you don't look at this. For some reason, I tend to gravitate to home and away games. And Vice is, again, I look at this shit, and he's got everybody away. Not that it really mattered that much, I guess, last week for some teams, but Will Fuller's the only guy at home.
Look at these home teams. So you have he has 3 Patriots who are playing.
That's my problem.
who are playing in Miami.
That's my
That's
problem. But
that's
that's my
hardly
problem that he has
away
3
game.
Patriots.
What's
That's
that?
my problem. My problem is that he does have 3 Patriots.
I
The
know.
game is going to be so ass. They're going to want to see what they have in Antonio Brown, right? So they're going to throw him a couple passes and like, let's see if he still has it, or we're going to cut his ass through all the
We don't know
allegations.
what'll happen with that guy.
Well, they're going to want to see what they have in him, right? They're not going to overuse any of these guys. Josh Gordon, White, Tom Brady. Dude, this game should be, if the Ravens blew him out, this game should be a blowout. I do not see these guys putting up crazy points. They're going to want to make it a running game. Sony Michelle should have a good game, and then she'd just be running out of the clock. I know Belichick likes to run up the score. The Dolphins roster is literally shit. Like, there's no one good on their roster. Like, I do not.
My point is that these home teams are garbage. Like in Oakland, Oakland's fan base knows that they're leaving. At the Rams, that's not really even a home game because no LA team no LA team has any kind of home base support.
I definitely think it
So
matters. Your crowd
maybe
or somebody else's crowd. I mean, I definitely think it's just also the
Lamar
energy
is
in the
ready for
stadium.
payback too. I actually have you winning. I picked you to win because I think you've made some great moves to bolster your lineup, and I think that the talent on your team will pull you through. Um, like Mark Andrews should have another great week. Juju Smith-Schuster, I think, will have a baller game against Seattle. Seattle give up 400 passing yards to Andy Dalton. He's gonna ball out. Cooper, Washington was giving up tons of passing yards to Philly. They will give up tons of passing yards to Dak. Todd Gurley against New Orleans. God, you got to feel like they're going to use him. He looked good, so as long as they're willing to use him, he should have a big game. Cam Newton should bounce back against Tampa. The last time, yeah, I mean, Tampa just sucks. Aaron Jones doesn't have a great matchup. Allen Robinson should be heavily targeted. I think your team, like David Montgomery is probably David Montgomery and Aaron Jones are my least 2 exciting starts on yours. Vice's team, I think you could be right. Like he's got a lot of Pats players, and the Pats don't mind running up the clock and just running, scoring a lot. I don't necessarily think that they'll just run because they didn't do that against Pittsburgh. I hope that they. I don't know what I hope that they do. That's such a wild card. The only thing that you know for sure is that New England should win. So I have you winning. But yeah, I don't think it's a wash or a guarantee.
Okay.
All right. Next up, we will talk about Jackie versus Nick. Who do you have winning? This is your best team, Nick. 1-0.
Yeah. So I put that Nick has been taking a lot of hits. He kind of has no tight end right now. Maybe Reed's going to play. The funny thing is they have both of the Redskins tight ends.
I know. I like that.
So which one's going to strike first? Nick's entire bench is basically an IR
Jordan
spot.
Reed still isn't out of the concussion protocol, I think. So
Dude, they're all hurt. Like, look at his bench. The only
I know.
person that could even play is John Ross. I feel bad. Like, this
So
is
he
a
spent-
disaster.
He spent $40 to pick up John Ross just to bench him.
I mean,
Seems odd, doesn't it?
We're only in Wednesday. But who would you even start him over?
I wouldn't, but I also wouldn't spend $40 to pick him up in the first
Why?
place because of that reason.
Why?
Why?
Next team's been getting hit by injuries, bro. He needs somebody on his bench. Look, dude, his entire bench is hurt. Once Tate and AJ Green come back, this team is gonna be fire. I'm telling you. He just needs to make it to that point. I don't mind him spending $40 on John Ross. What are you
Golden
gonna
Tate is
hold on to your money?
Golden Tate's not gonna be anything. But
Yeah. So I put Jackie's gonna win. She was the highest scoring team last week. I'm not in love with Freeman, her running back. I think he's trash. Vernon Davis, I mean, who knows? But Williams, Deshaun, Lockett, I think is going to bounce back. Hopkins, she has got really good receivers, I think. Jacobs looks like a really good running back. Wentz is he should destroy Atlanta. But Atlanta
Jackie has the matchup advantages in all of these except for tight end, and that's just a matter of who starts. But
Fitzgerald has a tough matchup against Baltimore. And then Fournette's going. I mean,
Cooks
David
is
Johnson's against
inconsistent.
Baltimore,
Cooks should have a
too.
huge game. He could be nothing. Fournette lost his quarterback. David Johnson has to play Baltimore too. That's not good. So And I would take
AP's playing Dallas. That's tough. That's a
a
good
lot of
defense.
a lot of their matchup is comes from the Eagles versus Falcons game too. So we'll see what happens with that one.
Falcons always play the Eagles well, and for some reason they're always low scoring games. I want to see it just break out for once and go high scoring, but
That's
you never
Sunday
know.
night.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler Lockett only got 2 targets last week, and he played 91% of snaps. That's not gonna happen all the time.
No, DK Metcalf got a ton of targets, and we'll see. So far we agree on both these. We both have you beating Vice. We both have Jackie beating Nick. Next up, we have what I think is one of the best matchups of the week. We have David versus Hoppy. What do you have for that one?
Shit talks already began.
I know.
They've been talking all day.
Got personal.
I put that it was a tie for me. I was going through all the matchups and I'm like, oh my god, how much even can this get? Until I saw Pettis in the fucking lineup compared to Duke Johnson Jr. and I was like, okay, well, obviously I'm gonna pick David. Sammy and David had a lot of things go for him. Sammy Watkins became the main guy. I don't think Sammy's that good as what he showed. But with Hill out, he's definitely going to be the primary guy. Second year in the offense. He knows this is his contract year. They're going to want to target him. Everyone else on both of these teams is kind of whatever to me. McCaffrey should have a great game again.
He should. He should have a big game.
If Derrick Henry fucking have like 200 all-purpose yards and like 5 receiving touchdowns, 5 rushing touchdowns against Cleveland, Bell should be able to have some sort of decent game. Marlon Mack is going to be hard to run for him on Tennessee. Like I said, it was pretty even for me to go through everything. I just think it came down to the flex spot, and then I looked at his bench and I was like, well, okay, let's say he takes out Pettis. As there's no one else to put in that's going to be decent. So just because Duke Johnson is going to really overpower that second flex spot, I'm picking Dave to win.
Yeah. I said it. I think it's one of the best matchups of the week. I have David winning for basically the same reason. I think Hoppy's going to have the higher scoring individual players. Like McCaffrey should ball out. Keenan Allen with no Hunter Henry and maybe no Mike Williams should be heavily involved in that.
They're going to be 2 of his best players.
And Derrick Henry, God, I hope the Colts can shut him down because he's such a basic bitch of a player. And I don't think he's going to get an 80-yard screen pass where he can just run straight and get 14 fantasy points.
How was he so fast?
He's not.
Okay, the dude is 6'3", 250. He doesn't do any jukes. He literally just like goes literally in a straight line. And you tell me 6'3", 250, you can't just like trip him or catch him?
It doesn't make sense.
I don't get it. I don't.
It doesn't make sense.
His acceleration is as fast as an offensive lineman, but then when he gets his top speed, the top speed somehow like fast. His acceleration's ass.
Yeah. I'm not a Derrick Henry fan, but Austin Eckler was able to carve up. Like they were all, not just receiving, but they were running all over the Colts last week, and I'm worried that may happen again. But it comes down to the same thing. Like Hoppy's depth just is trash. Latavius Murray would have had an awful game if it wasn't for his touchdown that saved him. Pettis got nothing. So like, well, his top 5 guys are great. Or top 5. The bottom half of his lineup is like
Pettis
maybe
played
the worst in the league.
Pettis played 3% of snaps, and Latavius played 27.
Yeah, and Ebron
played
Doyle and dropped the touchdown.
40, yeah.
David's team is just consistent throughout. Adam Thielen, the Vikings might need to throw the ball more in Green Bay, so he might get a guaranteed workload. Yeah, I have David.
Are you worried about Kerryon Johnson receiving 55% of snaps?
I wasn't ever going for him in the first place. Like,
that's pretty low.
How much money he was going to go for. I thought he was more like a $25 guy.
Fear Riddick being gone, I thought he would be at least 75, 80.
Well, he had like 16 carries or something last week too. I'd have to double check, but he had a lot.
He had 16 carries for 49 yards and 2 catches.
Against maybe one of the worst defenses in the league. It's not a good sign. So he's a good player though, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I have David. We both have David. So far we agree on everything. Let's jump to another one that I have being the blowout. This is the easiest one of the week. I'm sure we both agree. It's Erica versus Briggs. You have Briggs winning, right?
Of course.
I'm just kidding.
I put Erica should win. I said Bucks have a short week. They got pretty beat up by the 49ers and kind of destroyed by them. Erica's running backs have way more superior power.
Oh my God. Saquon Barkley and Dalvin Cook versus Ronald Jones and Philip Lindsay?
Now, she doesn't have. She is starting Mike Williams. I don't know if he's playing or not. That's weird for me. The crazy thing is like somehow Danny Amendola and Gallup had insane weeks.
Gallup makes sense.
Amendola had 20 points. If there's no way they're going to duplicate this, but that's pretty. You get 40 points from both of your flex spots. I'm not saying he can do it again, but if he can, it might be closer than you think.
No, especially I don't think it will be. I think this will be the blowout of the week. She even has the Bills defense against the Giants. That's a great start. She's got Chris Thompson against Dallas. They're going to be down. They're going to have to throw. He's going to get the work. Christian Kirk, I never liked her receivers. I've never liked them all year. Her receivers kind of suck. Kenny Galladay should get shut down.
I want you to guess. I want you to guess how many targets Christian Kirk got.
I think he got like 8 or something. He had quite a bit.
He had 12 targets.
Yeah, but that game also went through 5 quarters, and they had 90 snaps.
Just saying. And he was part of
the Arizona Cardinals aren't going to play 5 quarters this
Doesn't
week.
matter. Running back versus running back, Erica wins.
Yeah, Erica's got a better team, and Briggs has one of the worst teams in the league. So it's pretty simple. Let's see. Will we ever disagree? Spitzer versus Donnelly. Probably not here. Who do you have winning?
I'm actually probably you. I bet you have Spitzer. Right? This is going to be an upset.
Oh boy,
It's going to be an upset.
Got good. Finally,
I was looking at this for a while.
Okay, you're choosing team Andy Dalton. I just want you to realize the team you're choosing to win has Andy Dalton, Kenny Drake, and Justin Jackson.
Trust me, I got some firepower. So I put these teams both have pretty bad starting lineups. In my opinion, they do. I have no clue what Don is doing with his running backs. Adam, he really is banking Adams and Thomas to carry his squad. Last time Thomas played the Rams, he had 12 catches, 211 yards, and a touchdown. He destroyed them. Nothing changed.
Thomas will have a great game.
Nothing changed. Looking at this, just looking at these matchups, I don't know. It just Chubb got off to a slow start. He's going to be in New York against the upgraded Jets defense. Thomas and Adams are way more superior than any single. Like you would take those two out of anyone on Spitzer's team, right? There's no one that's going to be better than them. Hollywood Brown only played 18 snaps. There's no way he's going to, dude. If he hasn't, he can. If he has another crazy game,
this is the week. If the Ravens were playing like the Steelers or a good team, I could totally see what you're talking about, and I could see them winning. But they're playing the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are awful. They're so bad. They made Matt Stafford and the Lions offense look potent. And Baltimore, since you're so big on those home and road, Baltimore's at home.
You were hating on Andy Dalton, but the guy threw for 400 yards in Seattle.
Seattle's not okay.
What the hell do you think he's going to do at home versus San Francisco?
I think San Francisco has a better defense than Seattle, and you probably do too.
Not really.
Well, I do.
Okay,
I think San Francisco is going to be one of those sneaky good defenses. Well, it won't be sneaky after a while, but I think they have one of the best defenses in the league.
Regardless, Thomas and Adams are the two best players in this matchup. They happen to be on Donnelly's team. Hardman is an interesting start versus Oakland. He got 78% of snaps with Hill playing at least some of the time. They're gonna
Hardman and Hollywood Brown cancel each other out.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I know that Delaney scored 2 touchdowns last week, but Ertz is a superior tight end.
I think Ertz might be in for rougher days.
I mean, Justin Jackson and Kenyon Drake. I mean, that's crazy. I don't know if he's gonna make any.
Nick Chubb and Mark Ingram will outscore those guys substantially. Chubb is gonna get in the end zone. Chubb's gonna have a bounce back week. that Browns team realized that they needed to turn to Chubb towards the end of the game. He started doing stuff like I have Spitzer winning. I don't think it's a blowout by any means.
All I'm saying is if Thomas and Adams put up 25 points each, which seems pretty easy, Conley should win. But if he loses and he's 0-2, those guys need to get
Spitz
on the block.
Spitz had the worst injury luck out of anybody. He lost Tyreek Hill and Tevin Coleman last week, so that's tough to deal with.
Well, yeah, that's 2 starters.
Yeah, so we shall see what happens, but that's the first one we differ on. Pat versus Andrew. I wonder if we agree on this one. This should be interesting.
So Pat versus Andrew.
How about this? You've given your takes on all of them first. I'll give mine first.
Sure.
I have Andrew winning this. I think Pat has some tough matchups, like Russell Wilson at Pittsburgh. Jordan Howard is trash. Like if he gets in the end zone, he'll be fine. But otherwise,
such a hater.
Yeah, I am.
Jesus.
Boyd is against that strong 49ers defense. Like I think that's a good defense. They shut down the Bucs.
Whoa. Boyd had 11 targets, bro.
I'm not talking about targets. I'm talking about defense. 49ers have a good defense. I think they will shut down Boyd and Dalton and company. And then you've got, let's see, what was it? Sanders versus the Bears. Oh, yeah, Emmanuel Sanders against the Bears. I don't love that. Andrew's got some plus matchups. I like the Mahomes and McCoy one. He's also got some tougher ones like T.Y. versus the Titans and Landry versus the Jets. I think it's a low-scoring matchup, but I will take Andrew with the slight victory.
Okay, I'm picking Pat. Andrew has injuries. Mixon's banged up. He hasn't practiced at all. They say if he actually does play, he's going to be very limited. Some people think that he's just going to be ruled out. That's a huge loss. I mean, then you have Elliott going against Cohen and McCoy. He's going to just absolutely destroy them. Mahomes is a little banged up. I think he should be obviously fine. His ankle's a little hurt, but Pat just has more firepower. You got Julio Jones, you got Elliott, you got stars all over the field. I mean, Russell Wilson, he had a great game. He doesn't really run the ball anymore, which is kind of strange.
The more I look at this, the more I agree with you. I actually am going to take Pat. Zeke and Julio. Julio's not dead yet. I'm worried. I have Julio in another league.
He had 11 targets
about him
against
68%.
They were kind of working him in against this hard-ass defense. He only
played last week was really concerning.
Yeah, but he had 11 targets for 6 catches. Philly got destroyed by the Redskins. Julio's going to go off for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I'm taking Pat. I'm switching it up. Julio and Zeke is what hopefully gets him over the edge, but
especially if Mixon's not going to play, it's not a matchup.
I think I'm expecting Mixon to play. I agree with you. If Mixon doesn't play, it's harder, but yeah, should be interesting. And that leaves one matchup left on the table. That is me versus Justin. This one I still don't really know what I want to do with this. I'll explain what I think is going on. I'll let you explain what you think is going on. I'll let you choose who you think is going to win. So
thank you very much. I really appreciate that, Mike. Wow. So kind.
I think my issue with my team is there's just too many questions. Like Antonio Brown, will he play? Will he be suspended? Will he be in the NFL? And if he does play, what kind of workload is he going to get? He doesn't know the playbook that well. Like, he's a huge question mark. Can Connor bounce back? Odell Beckham returns to the Jets. He'll have his watch, his plastic watch. And Robbie Anderson's got a tough matchup. Breda severely underperformed, but he's got the workload. Like, there's so many question marks with this team of mine. I think Cooper Kupp could have a good game. Cooper, like the Eagles usually aren't that good against tight ends, I don't think. So he could have a good game, but you can't feel good about going into a week relying on Cooper Kupp and Austin Hooper. So then you look at Justin's team, and you know what? If the Patriots weren't playing the Dolphins, I would pick me to win. But Sony Michel scares the shit out of me. He could have 3 touchdowns in this game, and it wouldn't surprise me. He's got the other raper in the league, Jameis Winston. I think he will struggle, which will affect Godwin as well. And Edelman may not be needed. But I think Waller should have a big game. Robert Woods could have a big game. Chris Carson hopefully gets shut down. But Sony Michel is what scares me, as well as Austin Eckler. Those two scare me, and I don't know. I don't want to pick myself to go 0-2, but like my heart says go with me, my brain says go with Justin.
So who are you picking? Great. So I'll go.
I have me winning, but
well, I'm sorry to burst your bubble 0-2, but the difference to me is Eckler. Seriously. Like, you look at the matchups, you get to your flexes, and it's like, okay, Kupp and Godwin, whatever. And then you have Robbie Anderson, who did get a lot of targets last week. He's going against Eckler, who put up 37. He literally had almost exactly the same points as Christian McCaffrey. Like, he's the main focal point. And with Hunter Henry being done, Mike Williams being done, he had 7 targets and 6 receptions. He caught 2 touchdowns. They love passing him the ball. He's going to play the full game. He's playing against Detroit. Detroit's not a super great team. He's going to have a good game.
Detroit's got a good front four.
Here's the thing about your teams. Sony Michel and Connor need to wake up. From week 1, they're kind of the problems. Sony Michel, I like him. I think he should have a great game against Miami. If he doesn't, if I was Justin, I'm starting to worry. I like Sony Michel. I tried trading for him. I'm not going to sit here and deny I don't like him. But they have like 40,000 running backs. Literally, how Burkhead comes in. James White comes in. Sony Michel comes in. Harris guy, is he going to come in and take some carries? Everybody is touching the ball out of the backfield, and I hate that. Connor is the main guy, but is he a guy, or is he going to be actually decent? He had 10 attempts for 21 yards. Obviously, he played a good defense. He did catch all 4 of his passes for 44 yards.
So Connor was good to me. Like, he got game scripted out of there because New England was up so
how
much
was he
and they
good? He
couldn't
was
run.
averaging 2 yards per carry.
I get it. They couldn't run. They have a good offensive line. He was good in the receiving work. If he gets me another 40 yards receiving this week, that'll be great.
Let me tell you something. When you have top 3 offensive line, you can't get game scripted out. The holes are going to be there.
And when you're down,
you have to have the vision. You have to hit the holes. If you put Barkley with that offensive line, he's going for 2,000 rushing yards. I'm just saying, Connor's a good player. This is a wake-up game. I'm calling this a wake-up game for your team.
Connor doesn't have to be Saquon Barkley. He just needs to not have Saquon Barkley behind him. And Jalen Samuels and the rest of the losers on that team, running back, they can't play. Connor's their best running back. He may not be a super god talent, but he's their best guy. They're going to be in better games where they're in the games more likely. I don't think the Steelers are going 0-16. They're going to win games. They're going to be competitive. The Patriots have their number. They kick their ass, and they will bounce back this week. They're going to beat Seattle.
There is a lineup change I would maybe make, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to say it.
Oh, I know what it is. It's Miles Sanders for Robbie Anderson. I still might do it.
Nope.
Well, that's mine.
Oh, that's mine. So. I don't know, man. It's gonna be close. Like I said, Eckler is a huge difference to me, man.
Oh, you're talking about Alshon Jeffrey.
Oh
no, Singletary. I don't know. He's got a good bench.
Singletary. How I would put him in
instead
maybe
of
over Godwin.
Dude,
Godwin only had 3 catches.
Justin's got a good team. He's got a good
bench too. They're not like a bunch of stars, right?
I don't know why he still really has rostered Quincy Enunwa, who's out for the year though. That's a little bit of an odd choice, but
he's flexing on you.
I guess so.
I have a guy I'm gonna beat you with a guy that's not even in the league anymore.
Hey, start him in the flex and see if you can beat me.
Right? I don't know, man. Justin doesn't have any stars. He just has a really solid, good lineup. If what's his face comes back to the Chargers, Gordon, Eckler's still gonna be viable. He's just not gonna put up the crazy numbers he's putting up now.
I will realistically probably lose because the Antonio Brown thing is such a fucking cloud over my team. But
this is a wake up game for your team. Connor needs to wake up. Brown needs to wake up. Anderson had 7 targets, but they could never just.
Anderson's coming off of an injury. He played against the Bills, which is a really good defense with
You don't have to-
Tre'Davious White.
You got him. You don't
It's-
have to petition. He's good. He's fine. Whatever.
He'll be better this week.
Worried about Ward, the corner for Cleveland, but it is what it is.
No, Ward's a great corner, but
I mean, that's pretty much it. So we're in week 2 already. I can't believe the season has started. I can't believe we're already in week 2. I can't believe there's a game tomorrow. If Cam Newton sucks tomorrow, he's getting dropped Friday. I'm not playing games. This is
just
announced.
so you know, you won't be able to drop him until Tuesday.
There
Respect
is a
the
way.
hustle.
I will figure it out. So I wish everybody luck. I love the trash talk. I think it's awesome. And what is it? Monday it got a little excessive. I kept looking. It's like 80 new messages. I'm like, holy shit, how am I gonna read all this? I was just trying to like skim through, like read it all. It's fun watching games together. I have another league in an ESPN league, and God, I'm like, where do I go? How do I find the people that I need to talk to and make trades? Well, like, dude, I can't find anything in that league. Like, I was like, how did I ever do ESPN? It's such trash. It just looks bad. Like, seriously, like, just for fun, just log on to ESPN and just pull up fantasy and just look at their shit. It's trash. I'm not getting sponsored by Sleeper.
No, but we should be.
Yeah, no kidding. But I always like to say the date. Moment of silence for 9/11. Also
That's an
Vice's
odd
birthday.
thing to put at the end
Shout
of
out
the
to my
podcast.
boy Vice. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Vice.
Oh yeah, that's right. It is.
Yep. And David was already ahead of that in the chat. So yeah, that's about it. Good luck, everybody.
Yeah. For anybody who watched up until the end of this chat, I want you to go into Sleeper and write turkey salad. Just put in turkey salad. That way we'll know. No one else is gonna fucking write that in chat randomly. If anyone gets to this point in the podcast, you write turkey salad in there. Okay? That way we know who's actually watching these things to the end.
Look. Okay. Sounds good. See you guys.